that's not at all what growth is. So growth is more about building product market fit and leveraging product market fit in everything you do, and being very smart at monetizing and keeping them engaged. So going back to your question, the biggest problem in terms of growth is that everyone thinks that it's about user acquisition and don't care about building their product in a better way, or maybe adding virality or increasing value for more people at once than for one. That I think, so like about every startup accelerator I've ever been to, there was another growth mentor, and if they would do sessions, they would, well, like that session would just be 20 tools to spam people, to scrape LinkedIn and to automatically send them messages and stuff like that. Which I also did, and that can also work, but this is just a very small piece of the puzzle. And if you only focus on that and are not focused on getting to product market fit, you're not going to get anywhere basically with any product. So your question was about the problems, right?
Yeah.
In general, so the biggest problem in Belgium in particular is the lack of ecosystem. Almost any country.
As in here.
Yeah, but you guys have Startup Grind events. They don't even have this in Belgium.
Oh. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. Like almost any country I've ever Daniela told me like this is the only accelerator in Moldova right now.
Starting to have more, but Dream was the first one. Yes.
This was the first co-working ever or something, and it's now the
and
fourth.
Generator Hub was the first co-working, yes. But now we have starting to have many more. So
yeah, so you guys even do events at this point. Like Belgium is, like the Netherlands or neighbors are about the most innovative country in the whole of Europe almost. So I am mentoring in this is like the third one now. There's 2 accelerators in Belgium. They've never spoken to one another. I've walked into their door about 3 times saying, hey, I want to give free workshops and help the startups. Never got them back to me. And they're still, the only workshops they give are from some sales guy who's basically doing it to make his own personal brand bigger. And I know that Startup Accelerator because I've been in it with the startup I worked at. In most countries the ecosystem is better, people do a lot more, but there can always be more, I would say.
So how would you, talking about ecosystem, where do you see the opportunity to improve that? Or,
well, just look at you guys' values. Help others, give first, make friends. And going back into the conceptual, philosophical way, the more people you have to share perspectives with, the more richer your understanding of anything you would like to do. You're just like the reason we got here as human beings was by helping each other and passing on knowledge. So I know this is quite far and philosophical and stuff, but it's actually what it comes down to. There's a question here.
Okay, yeah, let's get some
questions.
questions from
so great. So I'm just curious, what's your proven way to develop amazing copywriting skills?
Yeah, that's a good question. Writing itself. So writing is a compounding skill. Like if you've never written before, you cannot tomorrow start writing and expect to be good at it. This is why so few people do it today, because it doesn't give short-term benefits, but it will give you long-term benefits, and it will give you invaluable long-term benefits because it will always be relevant, and you will beat everyone who's never invested time in it. So I write every day because not just because of that, also because writing stuff down helps you get mental clarity and that kind of stuff. But like to give you some more practical tips, because this is obviously not very helpful for you right now, so one of the books on the last slide was The Sense of Style, which is a good book on how to write converting copy. The other thing is observe very good writers in general. Do notice that there is a big difference in writing books and writing on the internet, for example. Like I love literature, but literature is typically, one sentence is like 5 lines on a page with like I'm a linguist from education, so I love that, but that doesn't help you to get a story to people. So the other thing is like observe people who write very well. So you can observe my LinkedIn posts, for example, but I'm not the best by far. So the best guy I know from copywriting on the internet is called Josh Fechter. And so when I was talking about the Facebook group of the guy who then founded an agency and is now a millionaire, it's the same guy. And the funny thing is that his account is actually banned from LinkedIn right now. That's a whole nother story, but he basically changed the way LinkedIn has been used. About 2 years ago, LinkedIn was people sharing blog posts and links and all of a natural skill in a way, I would say. But like to anchor more in on podcasts and YouTube videos, well, I have to be very honest, I'm kind of missing that boat. Because I hate seeing myself and I hate hearing myself speak, so I've been kind of avoiding that.
Are you considering?
I don't know actually, because so I think the last 2 years I've been in this, relatively in the spotlight quite often. In terms of I was highly visible on LinkedIn, for example, and I got invited to quite a lot of things and what?
So that brings me to the next question actually.
I don't really like that, that's why. So I haven't written anything on LinkedIn in 5 months because so LinkedIn started to be a very big opportunity at some point, so I kind of jumped on that boat. I wrote 3-4 posts a week. I also recorded some videos, only 4 or 5, because I wasn't as good at it as I was at copywriting. But then you get whole lots of engagement, and you kind of started getting used to getting a lot of attention, and it kind of, sorry for the language, it kind of fucks with your flow. And also if you are used to that then people, you feel like people start expecting that from you, that you have to keep on creating content, which I found very exhausting and also kind of stressful. Another thing is, and this is specific to LinkedIn, so at a certain point LinkedIn was a huge opportunity because not a lot of people were really jumping on it. So when I would write a post, I would get at least 100,000 views every post. But at a certain point, a lot of more people are going to jump on it. The algorithm slightly changes to give relevance to other people as well. And so it becomes harder and harder and harder. So you lose engagement with them for some very weird, very ego reason kind of fucks with you. And so what then happened was that the people who were getting engagement before, they started founding what they call engagement pods. So engagement pods are where you have a group of people in a chat group and you share each other's links on each other's posts, and then people like and comment on each other's posts. And this is supposed to game the algorithm so that your post will be seen by more people. I did this for 1 month and then I just kind of got sick of how fake it was. So if I have to comment on 10 people others' posts, which I don't want to comment on because I don't think it's a good post or anything like that, in order for me to get a level of attention that would get me, let's say, business or anything, that's not the kind of vanity world that I want to live in. YouTube also is the third or second highest visited website in the entire world. And there's also, because I think the reason I didn't think about it that much before was that videos being produced by creators as myself, so not by professional publications, used to be pretty shitty, but they are I have some YouTube subscriptions now that create amazing content, really amazing content, and that really builds awareness and brand in your head about certain topics. And this is the same thing about building audience. If I have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers, I can sell them anything basically. Not exact. So just think about Gary Vaynerchuk. What does the guy actually do? I'm not meaning to shit on him, I'm just trying to make a point. He just swears on camera basically. But it makes he can, by doing that, people are inspired by it. He can sell them wine, sneakers, and whatever the hell he puts his name on. So
a couple more questions, and then we'll go to this pitching bit part. Can you bring an example of growth strategy that you have worked on and had a great impact on conversion, user acquisition?
So there's one example. Actually, the people who were here yesterday already know it, but it's just an example that combines a lot of principles that are really powerful. So I'm just going to give you the same example. So in one of the startups that I mentored in Estonia, in Startup Wise Guys, there was a guy there, he had an app for football analysis. So the idea of the app was, you will have to grow very fast. If on the other hand, you are trying to make an app that teaches English to people from Moldova, you can probably take it slower because there won't be as much competition because there's not so much money to be made. In terms of, so 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, that's kind of hard to say. I think the more important part is that you have to be growing at all times. Doesn't really matter if it's, so usually what you should track in the beginning is week to week growth. So week on week growth. So let's say for example you have 10 people now and you grow every week by 10%. That means this week you have 10, the next week you have 11, and then the week after that you have 10% from 11, and so on and so on. The important part is that you keep growing, and the range at which you can grow is way too variable for me to really put a price tag on, or to put a duration on or something like that. The important thing is that you to keep growing, and the important thing after that is, because this is what investors will look like, if you cannot show them that you have been growing ever since you started, especially if you have been stagnating near the end and are then talking to them, they're either not going to invest in you, or they're basically going to invest in you in a way that they're basically going to take away your company, because they will have all the leverage at that point. And what is also really important is that you have a very clear idea about how much it will cost you to acquire a customer, and a very good idea of how much money you will make from every customer. Because that way, and you have to show this, be able to show this with data, that way you can tell to the that tells the investor basically, okay, if I give you 1 million, you will probably make 10 million out of it, based on all of those numbers right now. Based on cost per acquisition is, I don't know, €1,